And I also like to take this opportunity to thank the Chennai Institute of Technology and Mr. Pragdish for giving me this opportunity to talk to you, to share my experience on business incubation, and also specifically on the topic business model canvas. So if you have any doubts, you can put it in the chat box, or you can interrupt at any time, and we can have the discussion going. So I'd like to share the screen first. So is the screen visible to everyone?
Sir, it's visible, sir.
It is visible. Okay. Okay. Before going into the topic business model canvas, I would like to brief a little bit on myself and also on the Agroforestry Business Incubation Forum. As Dr. Suresh was saying, I have over 10 years of experience in business execution and then business mentoring for early stage startups. And coming to Agroforestry Business Incubation Forum, it is a Section 8 company. It is actually supported by Entrepreneurship Development Institute Innovation. Sorry. So EDII Chennai. Actually, EDII Chennai has so far supported 9 business incubators, out of which 4 has been supported under the umbrella of TNAU and 1 is in Metupalayam. We majorly focus on commercializing technologies and adapting new technologies under agroforestry, that is wood and non-wood products. Whenever we speak about wood, we speak about timber, we speak about plywood and other things, but we also do skin and body care products out of forest biomass. We also do charcoal based out of forest biomass and other value additions. So these are the things. We support both students as well as early stage startups. Apart from that, we also have different categories, like we support MSMEs and also new corporates, newly turned into corporates. So if they want to establish a corporate forestry or an urban forestry, maybe they want to go for a high value forest, high value trees, say for example sandal or red sandals or teak wood. So we collaborate with them in the form of consultative projects, and then we take up. So these are the small glimpses that I would like to say about this Agroforestry Business Incubation Forum. And also we are proud to say that since it is focusing on agroforestry, this is the first incubation forum in Asia to support agroforestry, to make it as a commercial venture for early stage startups and other community things. So now into the business model canvas. So how many of you have already heard about this term, business model canvas? I'm unable to see the chat. 1 second. Yeah, so almost everyone knows about the business model canvas, right? Okay, so for whom it will be most successful, or who will be using this as a tool? So that we need to first understand. See, this is a tool, and it's also connects what are all the key drivers to establish a business, or if you have already established a business, now you want to expand your services, expand your portfolio, product or service portfolio. So this will act as a tool on identifying what are all the major blocks that has to be put forth, right? So I'll come back to that that 9 blocks. But before that, like, what are all the new strategic plans that you need to devise when you are entering into a business? And also it helps in understanding the destination. So this tool will actually help you to think on a customer point of view. And also the second thing is what the value that the business proposes, and whether you have been intact with the business or with the business idea to create that value and to establish the value, and then to deliver the value to the customers that are in target, right? So whenever we enter into a new project, right, what is the first question that will come into our mind? how you are going to establish, what you are going to establish, and to whom you are going to establish, right? These are the three key questions that will come into our mind. These are the three questions that will pop up in our mind. So to whom we are going to cater, what we are going to cater, how we are going to cater. So whenever you are not only into the business ideas, whenever you are starting up a new project, either it can be a commercial, either it can have a commercial value or not. So if you can able to answer these three questions and then develop a systematic plan out of it, how you're going to connect these small dots, then you can establish a sustainable business, right? So going further into it, these are the 9 blocks. See, this business model canvas, it was first established by the Strategizer. If you can just Google and see Strategizer. So they are into giving mentoring and innovative services company, right? So they have developed this business model canvas for the early stage startups and also for established business to understand how they are going to invest their money, invest their time, invest their own potential, and how it is going to get implemented, for whom it is going to implement it, right? If you take care of this 9 blocks, in one side I have shaded them with green, the other one in orange. So this 9 blocks can again be divided into 2. The orange blocks will talk about how you are going to get revenue on your idea, and then the green blocks will most probably will be talking on what kind of investment you need to put in, right? So investment and then the revenue. So now we will enter into this and I will take you through block by block, and then we will also have 1 or 2 examples on how the business model canvas has been put forth by famous brands, and then we will also work with one of a idea, right? So the first block is customer segments. Whenever you get an idea, right, first thing what you will be asking yourself is to whom you are going to cater this one. For example, whether you are going to target the mass market or the niche market, or whether your market is going to be a segmented one, or whether it is a diversified, or it has multi-sided markets, right? So for example, if you are going for a particular brand, say for example Apple, in a market size of 100 people, all these 100 people will like to own a mobile phone, right? But whether all these 100 will go and buy the same brand? No. Apple, they target for a niche market, right? So it can cover maybe 10 to 15%. But the other people, whether they will be devoid of my mobile phones? No, they will also be having the mobile phone. So you need to understand the market first, whether your product is going to reach that 10 or 15% of the market that is available, or it is going to cater to all the people. Say for example, a mobile accessory, maybe a screen guard or whatever it is going to cater all the 100 people, right? But a particular product, particular brand, that is going to target only 15% or 20%. So likewise, you need to segment your market. So that is the customer segments. Then what is the value that you are going to give for your customer? The value can be assessed through the gain points or pain points that is being available in the market. Already there will be say for example, another product is in the market that is also solving the same problem or taking the same opportunity that your product is also going for. So whether you are going to solve a different problem for a same solution, that is the value proposition. Here people will always keep on thinking or keep on keep on asking themselves, and they will get confused on this part, value proposition, whether it is the value that the product creates or whether it is the value that is given by your product to the customer. You always need to think the second one, what value that your product creates and gives to the customer. Say for example, if we all watch TVs, right? In TVs, most of the ads, they will come up with a tagline. Say for example, one of the popular brand, Dhoti, they come out with saying Kattiko Ottiko. So that is the value proposition of the particular product, right? You don't need to struggle to dress up. You just need to encircle in your body, and then stick it on the Velcro. So that is the tagline. So that is the value that is being created by the product that is being transferred to the customer. That is easiness, right? Let's take another example. A famous brand, I don't like to name the brand, but the tagline is sharper, taller, smarter, right? If the children are going to drink that particular brand, what value that it creates? It creates sharper kids, it creates smarter kids, it creates taller kids. So this is the value proposition, right? This you need to understand for your product, whether you will be able to create one such thing. For some people, brand itself is a value. Okay, I am using this kind of a mobile, and it comes out of this brand. I am wearing this shirt. I am having this app. So that particular brand itself, it's a value. It acts as a value. Then what else you can go for value proposition? Maybe you can go for, like, you can reduce the cost. Okay, if you are buying this particular product from this particular shop, it is going to be very much economical. I don't want to use the word cheaper, but it is going to be economical than the other product. So this can also act as a value proposition. Then accessibility of the product. Say, for example, if for some brands, they will say, okay, if I need to go to the metropolitan cities only, I can able to get the accessories, right? Or I can access the service people. But if you are using the product B, you will able to get all the values that is being claimed by product A, plus on top of it, it has easier customer service, right? So the accessibility part can act as a value proposition. So first customer segment, and then the value proposition. The third one is how you are going to deliver this value proposition to your target customer. What are the channels through which you will be connecting value proposition with your customer segments, right? So what are the channels? Basically, we will be talking about whatever, how you are going to sell your product, how the product is going to reach to your customer. Say, for example, it can be through e-commerce, it can be through distributor channels, it can be directly to the end customer, it can be through opening retail chains of retail outlets. So these are some of the examples on how this particular value proposition will reach to your customer segment. That is how your product that is going to reach to your customer. That is the third key thing you need to analyze. Then comes the customer relationships, right? People will say, okay, we can talk about customer relationships at a later point of view, which is not so. You need to always think on what factor that is going to help you in acquiring your customer. Second, to retain your customer. Then if you are losing your customer, how to come back, how those customers can be brought in. These are the three things that you need to always analyze when you're also talking about channels, right? Say, for example, customer relationship can be given as a personal assistance or through automation or through getting feedbacks, all those things. These are the tools, but how we are going to develop the customer relationship is the key point. For a new business to start up, right? When a new business starts, there will be 100 browsers. Say, for example, 100 people is coming to your shop. They're browsing your shop in and around, but only 10 to 15% of them are getting converted into customers, right? So how you are going to convert at least 50 to 60% of the browsers into your customers? So that is the first thing. Second, what you need to think about is how you are going to retain those 60 to 70% of your customers to be with you. Say, for example, now you have retained 100 customers after your initial targets. Then how you are going to retain your targets, retain your clients or customers. For example, in our company, they will be saying minimum 80% of the customers has to be retained for a successful business. If they are not being retained, then there is a problem that you need to rework, right? So minimum 50 to 60% you need to convert your browsers into customers. Minimum 80% of your customers has to be retained, and balance 20% who are moving out of your brand, right? So you need to make them to come back. So for acting on these targets, what are all the services, what are all the communication points that you are going to keep up with your customer, you need to talk here. So that is the customer relationships, right? Then comes your revenue stream. So how you are going to tap the money from your customer by delivering the value, right? It can be on anything. Maybe you will be doing direct selling, or you will make it as a subscription model. Say for example, most of the apps that are coming out, right? The media blocks or something. Say for example, Amazon or Amazon Prime, or even YouTube now, and then Netflix. All these have come up with the subscription models. So whether you're going based on your product, whether you're going to do it as a subscription model, or you're going to go for a one-time selling, and then after that selling, I need to go for servicing the particular product, so that will become my revenue stream. Or whether you are going to tie one product with the other and sell it. So how you are going to generate revenue by selling this value, right? So that has to be come up with this fifth block. So this is the first point I like to stop here. All these talks about how you are going to generate revenue, right? Now we will talk about what all the cost involved in generating the revenue, right? So what all the activities or what are the resources that will help you in generating a particular value for a product, how it is going to your customer segment. So what all the basically behind the scenes, what are the things that you need to get equipped, the internal factors, right? Key resources, what are the resources that a company needs, or maybe your company needs. First, physical infrastructure, whether you have the required infrastructure with you. No, my product doesn't need a infrastructure. My base, all it's based upon a service. So maybe I don't require physical infrastructure. Then what else? Human resource, then financial, and in some places you also need intellectual property, right? Okay, my product is designed based on a know-how technology. Okay, this know-how technology has been patented by some other person. So I am getting license from the person to sell this. So that is a key thing. Maybe even brands, even trademarks, all these can come under intellectual. Human resources. So what kind of human resource you require? You need skilled labor. You need people from managerial perspective. You need people for administration or only for sales, or what kind of human resource you require. And then coming up, what all the financial commitments that will be required for your business idea to set up, maybe for infrastructure if you want to set up, or if you want to give salary, or if you're going to get distributors for your channels, then whether you need to give margin for them. So all these financial commitments you need to jot it down under key resources. Then comes the key activities. So for your product to reach the market, so what are the activities that you need to get involved in your company? Say for example, production. Then if it is software as a service, whether you need any particular platform, then whether you need to have a separate team who can work on new product development, access it. So what all the activities that is getting involved in the product cycle or in the service cycle, whatever it is, whether your idea is on based on a product or a service. So what are the key activities that you need to write it down? Then comes the key partners. So key partners are very, very critical. Here it is, what to say, risk is highly associated here. So if you are going for a particular key partner who will be helping you in marketing your product, or who will be helping in developing your product, or you are outsourcing the entire production facility and you are only keen on sales and marketing, or you are only involved in production and then you are getting partners for your marketing and sales. So this is the major part where there is a high intake of risk is involved. So write it down. This has to get, like what to say, you need to optimize the risk parameters here, and then analyze once or twice, and then finalize who will be your key partners. Whether you need to increase your key activities on yourself and then go outside, take just 10 to 15% of your job done by your partners, or I am happy I am very good in marketing my product. Only thing I need this infrastructure, so I'm going outside to do the job. You need to outsource a third person who will be your key partner. So key partners, you need to write it down, optimize it, write it down, optimize it. So you need to go for twice or thrice to come up with the final list of your partner. Then comes your cost structure. Okay. Having written my key resources, key activities, and who I am going to collaborate, now I am going to write down what is the cost structure involved in it. Okay, whether I need to go for fixed cost for infrastructure, then variable cost for my employing skilled laborers or human manpower. Then what is the economics of scale involved in it? What is the economic of scope involved in it? What are all the factors that drive cost in it, right? Whether I need to go out and seek some loans, or I need to go out and get some investors back to in place, and what all the interest rates that is going to play around. So you need to jot it down here. Okay, I have finished all my orange part. Now I have come to green part. Now whether I can change my orange part or not. That is, I can change my whether I can change my channels, or whether I can change how I need to get communicated with my customers, like for the customer relationships, or can I change the revenue streams? Yes, it is a very much doable. So this canvas, this chart will help you in revising all the structures, all the blocks, until you are firm enough or you're confident enough. Okay, this is the business idea. This is how I am going to enter into it. Or for an established company, okay, I am entering into a new product. I am entering into a new product, or I am giving out a new service to my customer. So I am going to invest some 30 to 40 lakhs, or maybe a crore or something. Whether it will be useful. Okay, you can write it down in these 9 blocks. You can judge yourself, and then you can go forward. It is very much flexible. This chart, this canvas is very much flexible. It will help you in revising your ideas, and it will be helping you to be focused. So that is a major advantage here in this business model canvas. It will help you to be more focused on what activity that you're proposing, right? So having said this, any doubts here? Otherwise, I can go for the examples. So any doubts here, or I can I go to the next slide? Okay, so we can keep the, if any questions, they can keep it the last. Okay. For this one, I didn't go for what to say, agro related or something. So these things, it will be very much helpful for you to understand how it can be workable. Now I am going to take this brand Spotify. I know most of you know about Spotify, and I think most of you might have already installed it in your gadgets, right? So first, coming to customer segments for Spotify. So who will be the customer segments for them? So first, it will be subscribers. Second, it will be the advertisers, and third will be the free users, right? So now they have jotted on, okay, these are my customer segments and what value that I am proposing for them, right? Whether it can be easily available, all songs, all music albums can be freely, easily available. Then whether it is instant, what is the streaming service available with them, whether it is very instant or whether it will keep on buffering, or how they are having their database, we don't know, right? So then for the advertisers, whether it will be an effective marketing strategy for them to invest in this Spotify. So how we are going to tackle that strategic plan for the advertisers, whether it will be able to reach a larger market for them. Yes, there are free users available for them, so they can reach almost the entire globe because it is very free, right? So most of the people who like the app will get used to it and they will be installing it. Okay, fine. So we have seen the customer segment, value proposition, and then comes the channels. So through which we are going to deliver a product to our customer. So it's an app, right? So it can go as a mobile gadget app, mobile app or web app, or it can also act as a software program, right? Then coming to customer relationships. So how they are having this one? What all the how they are going to communicate with their customers to get feedback from them, right? So they have Facebook, social media. They also have third-party APIs. So through them, they will be easily accessing their customers on what the customer requires, whether the value that they have given, whether it is satisfying for them or not. So we can get the feedbacks from them, right? So then coming to the revenue stream. So how they are going to generate the revenue? Of course, they are giving out advertisers. So through advertising, they can generate the revenue. Then through subscriber, so you'll be able to generate revenue by getting subscription fees, right? So what are the resources that will be needed for this particular brand? What are the resources? So they need to have to generate a brand. They need to have a content. They need to have employees for them, and then contracts with key partners. So who will be the key partners here? Maybe the recording companies, right? Maybe the studios, maybe the distributors. So these are the key resources that they are requiring. So what all, based on the key resources and the value that they are saying, proposing, so what are the key activities that has to be done by the company, right? They need to manage the music library, then content acquisition, they need to go for contract negotiation, they need to go for marketing, then maintenance of their database, right? Can be a cloud storage or whatever it is. So for fast streamlining. Then comes the key partners. So who are all the third parties? As I said, record companies, then who are all having the copyright of that particular music. They need to get hold of them. Then independent or freelancers, musicians. So what are the cost structures involved here? So they need to give the royalty for the right holders or copyright holders or the independent musicians. They need to give salary for their employees, and then the operational cost related to their service delivery. Operational cost will involve everything. It can involve even the electricity. It will involve the food or whatever that they are going to give for their customers and for their employees. So this is how they have bifurcated. But before jotting down each point in each block, they would have written 1,000 times. They would have revised, re-revised 1,000 times to come and fix this. Okay, this is what it is. Now I am choosing this particular key partner for delivering this particular value, right? Say for example, if I am taking ABC of these musicians, but they are not doing a popular songs, then what will happen? Naturally, your revenues will come down. So that can be identified through your customer relationship. So each point will be interlocked here. Each block will be interlocked. If any one block is not working properly, if you are not concentrating on any one block and you're saying, okay, I know what the key resources are available here, I'm just going back to my key activities, what will happen? So you're not concentrating on your content or employees or brands or contracts with the key partners for this particular brand, right? So this I have jotted down for you to easily understand. So what are the things that can be written under each block and how they get interlocked, right? Now I'm going for the second example, Uber Eats. So Uber is already in their service industry, right? They are into the logistics. Now they want to enter into a new project. So now they have worked it out for Uber Eats. Previously we have seen that is the only brand they have started. That's a new business for them. So they have worked it on it. Now coming to the second example, where a brand which is already established for a particular service, now they are entering into the another service, right? They are into the service industry, another service which is going to be adding in their portfolio. So here, if you come and work it out, what all the resources that is already available for them? First, that we need to target on. So they already got a brand name. they already have got their customer base, they already have the technology platform. Now, using this, for this particular new service, we need to go for a business model canvas in which they will be jotting down not only the already existing customers, but new set of people. So how they are written here? First point, hungry people who don't want or can't cook, right? They haven't mentioned, okay, already I have a customer base, right? I'm going to serve for them. No, they have written a new kind of customer segment here. Second, businesses that prepare food but don't have delivery guys. That is, there are restaurants already available, but they don't have the delivery system in place. So they want to hire outside. So they want to act as a partner for them. So that is one thing. So this is how you need to jot it down. I already have a product. Now I'm going for the second product. I am going to write down the business model canvas, how you want to look at it. You don't need to, it's not necessary that, okay, already I have a customer base. Now I want to target only those people. In addition to the customer base that is already available with you, you are going to increase the customer base so that your revenue will also increase. So customer segments, if you see, hungry people who don't want to cook, right? Who can't cook. Okay, what is the value that they are proposing here? Delivery from your favorite nearby restaurants in just a few clicks. Okay, I'm already used to this Uber app. Now I'm just going for an extra clicks where I can see what is the food that is available in my nearby location, in my favorite place. I can order and I can also track it, where it is coming from, right? Right. Additional source of income with flexible hours plus customer tips. This is for the businesses. That is for their partners. Okay, these are the restaurants that I'm going to cater the service, and it is going to act as an additional source of income for that particular people, right? Okay. What is the channel? They have already created an app, but there's again another app they are saying, Uber Eats app, Uber Eats through website, right? And how they are going to do their customer service, customer relationship management, reviewing, rating, and feedback system, and then through customer support, right? What is the revenue stream that is going to be there? So one, commission on orders and delivery fees, that is going to come with them. Then branding promotions. What is branding promotions here? Okay, these are the catering facility that I am going to help them in delivering their food, delivering their product. So I'm going to promote their brand in my app, in my website. So through that, I'm going to get we charge from them, like promotional charge from them. Then search pricing. Not only search pricing, but also through what is the demand. Okay, now at particular point of time, I am getting a heavy demand. So there is a heavy rain during this particular time in this particular location. So for delivering food during that rainy time, I am going to increase my delivery charge, right? So that is going to be an additional revenue for me, right? So I hope you people are following it up. Now I am coming to key resources. So what are the resources that is required? Okay, brand that is already available, customer base is already available, technology platform is already available, but I want to create something new here, right? People know Uber, but now I want to create another brand, Uber Eats, right? And I am going to have an additional programming, additional coding technology platform particularly for this service that I'm going to render, right? So what is the key activities that is involved to develop that particular platform, right? And then to give additional customer support. Then supply and demand marketing. So what is the demand that I'm getting? Whether I'm able to supply for that particular demand, so that you need to access, right? Then comes the key partners. So key partners, they already have that payment process and API providers, all those things. But apart from that, here you can also write your key partners as the restaurants people, the hotel people. They will also act as your key partners, the caterers, right? That is one thing. Then coming to the cost structure, where you are going to invest money, you are going to invest on additional employees. You need to additional marketing, then on the technology platform itself. So these are the cost structure that is getting involved in it. Fine. Coming to the summary page, if anyone is willing to share their ideas, maybe we can work on it in live here itself. If anyone is willing to share their idea, okay, sir, this is my idea, whether you will be able to help us in jotting down our product for in this business model canvas. Is anyone willing to share their idea? Just an idea itself. So anyone is willing to share their idea? Any business idea if you have in your mind? It can be on anything. So we can just have a quick walkthrough on these blocks on based on your idea so that everyone can be able to understand. Okay, if not, I will take up one more example on agro related, right? So here I'm going to take one FPO who is our clients here. So they are into making value addition of banana, say for example, it's a value addition on banana, right? So they are making banana fibers for clothing. They are making banana chips. So coming to the customer segments whom they are going to cater, if it is a food product, they are going to target the mass market. Banana chips, it will be easily available and it can be taken by anyone, right? So the mass market, whoever it is, they are going for the snacking time, snack table, right? So that is one thing. Second, on banana fiber, they are taking out the banana fiber and making it as a clothing, right? So the textile people, they are not going to produce these FPOs, the farmers, they are not going to produce the shirt by themselves, shirt or dress clothing by themselves, but they are going to supply the banana fiber to the textile people. So customer segments here will be on two things. One, normal market people. Second one is the textiles. So what is the value that they are proposing here? Healthy snacks. That is the value that they are proposing. Second, using naturally for the textile people, it is a natural fiber that is available. They are not adding any synthetics to it. It is a naturally available, right? So these are the two value propositions that they are going to give out. What are the channels for the chips? They can either go with their distributors, they can produce mass products, and then they can go with the distributors and then to the retail outlet, or they can directly reach out to the retail people, or even they can start an e-commerce, or they can have an app, or they can just go with this Amazon or Flipkart and then they can sell their product. With regard to the banana fiber, it is directly to B2B, that is business to business, directly from the farmer producer organization to the textile company. So these are the channels. Coming to customer relationships, so they will be asking the feedback from the retail outlets, how their product is moving on, how the people like their product, right? And with compared to when coming back to the retail, when coming back to the textile company, they can ask them, so how this particular variety of this fiber has the tensile, has the binding ability with the cotton. So they can get the feedback, they can get the review, and then they can work on again on their product, right? So what all the revenue streams that they are getting through e-commerce, they are getting a particular revenue. Through direct selling, they are getting the revenue. Then when they're selling their fiber to that is B2B, they are getting the revenue. So these are the three revenue structures for their particular company, right? For their particular farmer producer company. Then coming to the cost structure part, what are the key resources that is required? So to prepare the chips, right? They need a skilled manpower. They need to they need to chop the banana. They need to prepare it as a finished goods, right? That is one thing. Then for extracting the fiber from the pseudo stem, so that is required. Then whether any infrastructure, physical infrastructure is required for storing their products, maybe. Then is there any intellectual it is available with them, or whether they need to get license from other people, say whether how they are going to extract the fiber from the pseudostem, from the banana pseudostem, right? So it may be a technology developed by some other academic institutes or research institutes. They need to get license from them. They need to spend some money and then get the license for them to incorporate their technology, for incorporate the third-party technology in their pharma producer company, right? So for that, what are the key activities that has to be done here? So there should be some negotiation. There should be some contracts with either with the textile company or with the academic technology institute where they are getting the technology from. When coming to the chips, they need to talk with they need to go for marketing. They need to go around and sell with, if it is e-commerce, okay. Otherwise, they need to talk with they need to create a distribution channel, and then through them, they need to go out to the retail outlets, all those things, right? Then coming to key partners. So here, who will be your key partners? So key partners will be the distributor channel people, right? Distributors will become your key partner. Then if you are going to test your product for, say for instance, the FSSAI, whether you are going to test it in a lab, then they can act as your key partner. So what is the cost structure involved here? So what is the fixed cost? If you have any, you need to develop machineries for them, you need to establish machineries, then you need to give salary for the people, you need to go for insurance. So these are some of the cost structures that is involved here. So basically, the business model canvas will help you to identify whether your idea is a viable business idea, whether your idea is a viable business idea. If not, what has to be done, where has to be done to convert that idea into a viable business idea, and then that viable business idea into a commercialized product or service. So that is why we use, or we ask our early stage startups to, apart from doing the SWOT analysis, to jot down the points in this one, and then we help them. Okay, this can be changed, this can be revised, this can be modified before implementing their ideas. So I think I would like to complete my presentation here. So if there is any doubts here, I'll be happy to clear them.
Sir, Dinesh Kumar, sir.
Yes, please, sir.
Sir, there is a question from one of our participants, sir.
Yeah, please.
What is the difference between business model canvas and lean canvas, sir?
Okay. Lean canvas is what to say? It is like if someone is really they don't know, like early stage startups, or just now they are entering into the business terms or something like that, then they can use the lean model. Lean canvas is what to say? If you can say it is a version 1.0, then this business model canvas is a version 2.0. So basically, both are one and the same. But here, what you will be getting is you'll be able to appropriately jot down all the things, and then it will give you, this business model canvas will give you more clarifications on your idea. Lean model canvas is like what to say? There are two things, right? You can write a business model in a small sheet of paper itself that can also act as a business model. And then when you're approaching a what to say, a bank, you are preparing a detailed project report, right? So what is the difference between them? It is an envisaged model, right? So the difference is the same here. Lean model canvas and business model canvas is like just like a version 1.0 and 2.0. That's it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, okay, sir. We can wind up the session, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of you. As we come to close of our webinar session, I would like to acknowledge Mr. S. Dinesh Kumar, sir, our esteemed speaker, who took the time out of his busy schedule and showed us with his pearl of wisdom and knowledge. Furthermore, on behalf of the Chennai Institute of Technology Business Incubator Innovation Pitch Series, we sincerely thank the participant for being with us with this evening and enlightening us with your enthusiastic remarks. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And I also like to thank Pragdesh and your team for giving me this opportunity.